Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wilton Report. This week, we'll be talking one of the hottest topics in real estate, schools. We'll be ranking and showing you the rankings for all of Princeton's public schools. Stay tuned. Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is Josh Wilton, and this is the Wilton Report, Princeton's real estate news channel and everything real estate in Princeton, Mercer County, and beyond. This week, we're going to be talking schools, but before we do that, as you know, I always like to take a look at inventory. Inventory tells the biggest picture for what's going to happen in the market, one of the indicators at any rate. So last year on the 20th of June, I showed you this in last week's episode, there were 57 homes for sale total, from a condo to a mansion. 47% of the entire market was above $2 million. This last week, on the 3rd of June, there was 58 homes in the market, and 50% of the market was above $2 million. This week, June 10th, there's 63 homes on the market, which is good, and 50.7% of the market is above $2 million. Of the 63 homes, there are a bunch that are going contingent this week. I know that because we sold some of them, and others I didn't sell. So there's going to be a drop in inventory if nothing new comes on the market. Interesting segment of the market to watch. 28% of the market's above $3 million. That's unprecedented for Princeton. It's unprecedented. 18 single-family homes, or 18 homes, I should say, for sale above $3 million in Princeton right now. Seems like a lot to me. There's some above $6 million. That I can break that down further for you. But again, seems like a lot. We'll have to keep an eye on that segment of the market. So today we're talking schools. So that is a really grainy picture that I grabbed off the internet of Princeton Public School. The high school, I think it reminds me of Harry Potter. So the Princeton Public Schools are fabled. They're, I would say, probably world-renowned based on the number of consumers coming from overseas that already have a very clear sense, not only that they want to be in Princeton, but the elementary school in Princeton that they want their children to attend. So we're going to kind of do a walkthrough of the scores of the schools. So obviously everybody exits Princeton High School unless they go to Votech, which is my oldest child did, and then Princeton Middle School. Then there's the elementary schools, Riverside, Little Brook, Johnson Park, Community Park. There's also the charter school in Princeton, which is K-8, so it's not elementary, which ends at 5th, and Princeton Middle School 6th. Obviously, Princeton High School starts in 9th grade and picks up the cranberry kids, as we like to say. So starting with the charter school. So the charter school is a newer school in Princeton, opened in 1997. There's a fair number of charter schools in New Jersey. I would say more growing every year. It is a taxpayer-funded school. However, they have their own school boards. It's not the Princeton Board of Education that is the governing body of the public schools. It is not the governing body of the Princeton Charter School. I will tell you as a resident and parent, that has caused some consternation in the community over time. So again, you know, Princeton's mission is to provide a student body with the best possible education, focusing on fundamental academic disciplines. I can tell you as a parent, I know people who went to charter school, whose kids went to charter school, loved it. I know people who, like anything else, thought it was okay. It's a pretty intense academic environment based on its reputation. They don't mess around, right? So I know people who move here and their first thing they're going to do when they close is they're going to register for the lottery for the charter school because you can't get in by living in a specific neighborhood. So the charter school is open to Princeton and non-Princeton students. However, there's always a waiting list. There is a lottery for the schools. Once one of your children gets in, their younger siblings will get priority, I think, theoretically, to make it easy on their parents for the pickup and drop off, et cetera, et cetera. So the other thing that you have to realize is that Princeton Public Schools, not governed by the Board of Ed. So I can't say it's not party to its rules because it's just a different set of standards. They do receive state and local tax dollars. Unlike traditional public schools, Princeton Charter School receives a fixed amount per pupil and finances all operating costs with these funds. They do not receive local bond money. So the referendum that was just passed last year, none of that went to the charter school, theoretically. Most of it went to middle school, high school, and the four elementary schools, which we're going to talk about. So they raise money to improve their facilities. So it's pretty interesting. It's here. It's not going anywhere. I know it had opened. It was like, the devil had moved to town. People probably, like anything that delves politically, lost friendships over it. So I did just a Google search pros and cons of the Princeton Charter School. And you can do this yourself. People say it's a waste of money. People say it's drawing money from the elementary schools. People say it's better. People say the teachers there are more accountable, that the students get a better quality education. People say that they don't have the diversity that the public schools have, and the language challenges and the socioeconomic challenges that the normal public schools have. So there's pros and cons to it. However, it is a lottery. It is oversubscribed, meaning there is a waiting list every year. So if you're thinking of a parent, right? As a parent, what do I do? And you want your kid to go to charter school, get in the lottery quick. Don't dilly-dally on it. Get in quick. It is the #1 charter school in the state of New Jersey, according to niche.com. So you go to niche.com, you look at 2025 best charter elementary schools, Princeton Charter School is #1. Don't think that's not a draw to the residential real estate market in Princeton. It is. So like the charter school, don't like the charter school. If you're a homeowner in Princeton, this raises the price of your house. Period. It just is what it is. I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. It's here. And from a real estate perspective, it creates demand because people want to get their kids into that school. Okay. So Community Park School. So Community Park is located in what I would call the heart of Princeton. It's by Community Park Pool. It's by Community Park, where everybody's kids play soccer, baseball, softball. There's a running track there. It's just literally in the heart of Princeton. It's by Conti's Pizza. It's very close to the high school and the middle school. It's right on Witherspoon Street in the middle of the downtown. What's interesting about Community Park is that it is a dual language immersion school. What does that mean? It means that kindergarten, first grade kids have the option of enrolling there to get 50% of their education in English and 50% of their education in Spanish, right? So what does that mean? It means they're going to graduate in the 5th grade well on their way to biliteracy. That's the function of that. I would tell you, if I could do it all over again, my kids went to Riverside Elementary, which was wonderful for the most part. If I could do it all over again, I would have them in a dual language elementary, and my kids would be bilingual because as Americans, we're not. So again, if people that live in other districts want to send their kids to Community Park, if you didn't know this, the district will provide bus transportation that's beyond walking distance and wants to go to Community Park for the immersion program. So you can live in Riverside, your kid gets on a bus, goes to CP for the immersion program. And people feel very strongly about this. Obviously, I work with clients whose kids are in Community Park. They are not leaving. They're Community Park parents. They will move only within Community Park. Truth and point, I brought a client an off-market house in Riverside a couple of years ago, didn't want it because they wanted to stay in Community Park. They want the Spanish literacy for their kids, and I don't blame them. So it's pretty interesting. So again, can they enter in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grades? If the child is fluent in Spanish or came from an immersion program, right, they can. If not, it's kindergarten, 1st grade. I will tell you, as a broker in town, I have customers moving here for this program. So it's like, we have so many multilingual people moving to Princeton already. It's not a priority for them. I can tell you that as a non-multilingual parent, this would have been a priority for me for my kids. And I would have just started and ended in the middle of town for my children. So it is a thing. That's the school report on niche.com. It gets an A+ grade. It's the #4 best public elementary school in Mercer County. So that's Community Park School. It's pretty cool with Spanish immersion. Johnson Park. So Johnson Park is off Rosedale Road. So what does that mean? It's really, in my opinion, the least walkable of the elementary schools. So you kind of have to drive your kid in, and or you have to drive your kid out, and or there is some busing to the school based on geography. So Community Park is eminently walkable, bikeable from the neighborhoods in the middle of town. Johnson Park is less so because it's more west of Princeton where the lots are bigger. The subdivisions are bigger. It's more spread out. So it's more of a drive in, drive out. However, when you look at the score on Johnson Park, it's A+, the number 3 best public elementary school in Mercer County. So it's a great school. It's just a little further from the downtown than the other two. And that's it. So that's Johnson Park, great elementary school. It's, I would say, standard curriculum, standard protocol there. If you look on 𝐂𝐄𝐓'𝐒.com and you compare Community Park and Johnson Park, Community Park has a little bit of a lower rating based on math scores. They're tied for reading. So a little bit of a difference. Again, you can go to 𝐂𝐄𝐓'𝐒.com, figure out how they want to do their math on the scores, but it is what it is. Johnson Park has a 10-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Community Park is 9-to-1. So it's a much smaller school, 286 versus 409. Little Brook Elementary School, and please note the headline, #1 public elementary school in Mercer County. Okay, we'll talk about what that means. Little Brook is a neighborhood, right, that is north of 27 and east of Harrison Street. So what does that mean? It means it's closer to New York City. It means it's closer to a job center. It means it's closer to the shopping center. It's a rather large part of town as compared to Community Park or Riverside in terms of the neighborhood size. It's probably double the size of Riverside. But I will tell you, there is a concept in the residential market called the Little Brook Premium. The Little Brook Premium is based on what you're looking at on the screen, the #1 best public elementary school in Mercer County, period. And don't think that parents aren't willing to pay a premium to give their kids a perceived edge by going to Little Brook Elementary School. Is it that much better? I don't know. My kids didn't go there. They went to Riverside, which was great, but not perfect. Nothing's perfect. I'm just telling you from a real estate perspective, there is a concept of the Little Brook Premium going on right now because of the school reports that are coming out. I will tell you, when I first moved to Princeton, I think it was really more Riverside and Johnson Park. It had shifted to elementary school or Little Brook based on some score. So again, the Little Brook, it's north of 27 towards Montgomery. It is east of Harrison Street towards Franklin and Montgomery. Great neighborhood. And you go from anything from a starter Cape Cod townhouse to now like a McMansion that was just built probably in the vicinity of $4 million. The other nice part is that from, I would say, a third of Little Brook, you can walk to the downtown. You can walk to the shopping center, which has become its own ecosystem at this point. So if you look at the niche K-12 compare tool, and again, they got cut off because the Little Brook's URL at the bottom was a little bit longer. Little Brook has a 79% score in math, whereas Johnson Park is 67 and Community Park is 62. They're all tied at reading at 72. So, from a real estate perspective, do parents look at these things? They do. Do they make home purchase decisions based on this? They do. Does that mean that Little Brook is more expensive than Riverside? It's not. And the reason being, Little Brook is a larger district. There's more supply. Riverside is a smaller district, a lot of which is owned by Princeton University, less supply, higher price. Riverside Elementary School, which is where my 3 children went. So Riverside Elementary is really south of 27 and extends eastward towards Plainsboro across Lake Carnegie, and it extends to Franklin at the tip. It is the #5 best public elementary school in Mercer County. A grade, A academics, A- for diversity, which is surprising because there's kids from like over 100 countries in that school. But again, that's what you can go based on reports. So Riverside is a great school. My 3 kids went there. Was it perfect? No. As a matter of fact, one of the worst teachers I've ever encountered taught, and maybe still does, at Riverside Elementary. Not a nice person. I thought the principal was ineffective, right? Based on what happened with this particular teacher. So is it a perfect school? Nothing's perfect. Is it a great school? Absolutely wonderful. I like to say that Riverside is a bubble within a bubble because it's sort of like hunkered down by itself in this little neighborhood. It's eminently walkable. Drop off and pick up is as much a social gathering for the parents as it is for the kids to be picked up and dropped off. So a really great neighborhood, really great school. Perfect? Nope, but nothing is. So if you look at the rankings, again, it just gets cut off because the screen couldn't fit it. Again, reading proficiency for Riverside, 77. The next best one, or the next best, are all 72. And then the math proficiency, 72%. Little Brook, 79, 67, 62 for the other schools. So those are the elementary schools. And the way I always explain it to people who are moving to Princeton, it's like picking between Yale, Princeton, Harvard, and MIT. Like, where do you want your kid to go to school? It's all good. The message being, it's the kid and the parent, not the school, that's going to make the difference. Plus, unless you're a charter, which goes K through 8, they're all going to end up at Princeton Middle School unless they choose to go to private school. So Princeton Middle School, if you just do a quick Google search, great academic reputation, very diverse student body, diverse socioeconomic, diverse everything. And I'll tell you, last night I was in the Princeton Middle School cafeteria. My youngest is graduating the high school, and they had the track dinner. And one of the coaches stood up, and he's retiring. And he said, please look around. And he goes, I hope you focus the rest of your life as making your life as diverse and as vibrant as the people in this room are, because it was everybody from every race, creed, color, foreign country. Like, you had the whole kit caboodle in that room last night. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of living in Princeton, is that it's very, very diverse, which is the world. So despite the nativist sentiment going on in this country, Princeton's a little bit opposite to that. So again, the middle school, it's a great school. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But overall, it's a very good school. Depends on the parent and the teacher. So if you look at U.S. News and World Report, it's ranked number 71. Homes.com gives it a 13, and Niche gives it a 5-star ranking. So depending which system you go to for the ranking, you're going to get a different report. So the Niche.com gives an overall of an A, teachers A+, academics A, diversity A. I don't know how diversity can be anything less than an A++ in Princeton Middle School, but it is what it is. Niche.com has it as the 13th best public middle school in the state of New Jersey. Also located in the smack center of the downtown. It's right on Walnut Street. So basically, Tree Street north to the middle of town, and you're at the middle school. And it's right next to the Choir College campus, which was just acquired by Princeton. So kind of interesting news. Jumping to Princeton High School. So again, Princeton High School has a great reputation. It is a great high school. Is it perfect? No, it's the kid. So my oldest went to Votech for his last years of high school, went to college first, not even a semester, came home. He does not want to go to college. He works full time. My daughter is out on the West Coast. She is sailing. She is crushing it academically at San Diego State, well on her way to an amazing life. And my youngest is off to Brown University. Every kid is different. So there's no magic bullet moving to Princeton. However, the overall school structure, I think, is incredibly positive, which is why we're doing this podcast today. So Princeton High School is, according to U.S. News and World Report, 33rd within New Jersey. Again, that's interesting, right? So AP participation rate, 73%. Minority enrollment, 52%. 11% of the students are economically disadvantaged. So again, number 617 in national rankings, 33 in New Jersey. Number 2 in the Trenton, New Jersey metro area high schools, and number 156 in the STEM schools. So that's U.S. News and World Report. However, when you go to this, right, College Readiness Index ranks, it's number 23 in the state, according to U.S. News and World Report. State assessment proficiency, I don't even know what that means. Who cares? It's number 138 in the state for graduation rate rank. So that's U.S. News and World Report. When you go to NorthJersey.com, Princeton High School is playing the top spot in New Jersey in the latest high school rankings released by Polarist. So again, reports and subscriptions are like anything else. It depends where you look. So New Jersey, Princeton High School claimed the top spot in this poll with Polarist. And here's why. The school sent 19 students to Princeton University. Well, yeah, their parents all work there, right? And it's not gives them an edge, but these are academic. This is an academic bastion in Princeton. 1 to Harvard, 5 to MIT, which is pretty insane, and 25 students placed in elite institutions. Trailing closely is the Lawrenceville School, which is a private high school. 17 kids to Princeton, 3 to Harvard, totally 20 students to top colleges. So Princeton High School outranks Lawrenceville School, at least from an Ivy League perspective, which is incredible. But again, when you think about where a lot of these parents work, it's at the university. It's not that surprising overall. So again, Princeton High School is in the smack center of town, like right on the center. My house where I live opens to the back of the high school. And again, if I could do it all over again, would I start in Riverside? I love Riverside. My closest friend in town was my neighbor. I would not know him unless I was in Riverside. So from that perspective, wonderful, great people there, nice elementary school. Not perfect, but great. But if I could do it again, I'd start and end in the center of town, because once your kids get to middle school, they want to walk everywhere. And you as a parent have to pick them up. So one of the things that causes pressure on that like center of town market is parents don't want to drive their kids anymore. They want their kids to be able to walk to the middle school and high school. So they'll go to Little Brook and they'll literally move into the center of town for the walkability once their kids get to middle school and high school. So, Princeton schools, I would say, are world-renowned. They are excellent, not perfect, excellent. Something to consider from an elementary school perspective. They're all awesome. They all end up at the middle school and they all end up at the high school. But at the end of the day, it's the kid and the parents and the teachers that make the difference overall. And by the way, the number one, according to niche.com, high school in Mercer County is West Windsor-Plainsboro High School. South, not north. South. So Princeton High School is number 2. What does that mean? I have no idea. So it is what it is. But, what West Windsor doesn't have is a downtown, doesn't have a university. I think it doesn't have the ambiance, obviously, that Princeton has. So that's it. That's the Wilton Report, kind of breaking the schools down. If you have topics you want to see us cover, 609-773-8054. And again, if you haven't, please subscribe to this podcast, like the episode, and feel free to share it with your friends. Thanks, everybody. Tune in next week for another edition of the Wilton Report.